Hey there, this is Chidanand from Kratz Infotech NG. In this quick demo, I plan to show you how to use the managed Kubernetes service from Azure, which is called the AKS, and spin up a pretty small cluster, maybe comprising of 2 worker nodes, to try out all your hands-on activities for those who are interested in really trying out exercises on a real cluster. For most of the use cases, Minikube is a pretty good alternative for trying all your hands-on exercises, but there are some times you would need a real cluster. May not be a production grade cluster, but a simple dev kind of a cluster which can be used to try all your Kubernetes exercises. For this tutorial, the only prerequisite is to have a free tier subscription to Azure services. This is my Azure portal. I've logged into my Azure portal and I have a free tier subscription. Okay, so if I go in here, try to search, there are a lot of services listed out here, but I can use a shortcut for finding AKS or the Kubernetes service. All right, create a simple Kubernetes cluster. Okay, I have a free trial subscription, which is okay. Resource group. Okay, there is an existing resource group, or let me create a new resource group. I will call it YouTube AKS-demo. Okay, what kind of a cluster are we talking about? Are we talking about a production grade or, kind of a dev test kind of a thing? This is okay. What is the name for your cluster? All right. It's a mandatory item, so I will just call it YouTube cluster or YouTube AKS-cluster. Okay, the region I will leave the default. I don't want any availability zones. AKS pricing, this is okay. Which version of Kubernetes to run? Okay, I will leave 1.27.7, which is okay. Automatic upgrade. Okay, I will go with the default. Updates to the cluster, updates the cluster to the latest patch version with the set minor version. This looks okay. The local, I don't want to set up any access control right now, so this is okay. All right, what is the agent pool? Now, what kind of a compute do you want to use for your cluster? All right, so Ubuntu Linux is okay. Availability zones is, I don't want this. I can choose, a smaller one. There is something called, again, it's all left to you as to what kind of a compute that you want. There is a B2S. This is, the cheapest version. So I will use this B2S. All right. I don't want the auto scaling to happen. I will do the manual auto scaling. Node count 2 is good. Okay, maximum number of pods per node. This is standard. I think this is okay. I don't want any public IP address or any of that. No taints. Okay, next networking. I will keep it a public cluster. I don't want a private cluster. Container networking, this is okay. I will use the network policy of Calico. That's also fine. All right, so let me review this and check if this passes all the validations. The validation took around a minute just to find out if I have asked for something that I shouldn't be asking for. Everything looks okay. So let me go ahead and create the cluster. Again, creating the cluster may take a couple of minutes, so I'll pause the video and I will come back as soon as the cluster is ready. It took a while for the deployment to be ready. So my deployment says it's completed. It means my cluster is up and running. All right. So my cluster is up. There is a node pool configuration. Okay, everything looks okay. The pod CIR, the service CIDR, the network policy, which is Calico. Right now, let me just quickly show you how to possibly connect to your cluster. The multiple ways in which you can connect to the cluster. You can use the run command here, which is not very friendly. So you can have a cloud shell as well. I have, the Azure CLI that is installed. Okay, so how to install the Azure CLI? The link is out here. I will probably leave this in the documentation section. Okay, now I have the this Azure CLI installed. So I'll open up a shell prompt and I will just say AZ login. Okay, that logs me into the cluster. Don't need any of these. Okay, all right, then set the cluster subscription. Okay, that's also good. Download the cluster credential. Now, this is the most important task because as most of you who have worked on Kubernetes know, there is a kube-config file which defines how many clusters are there, what is the keys associated with the credentials that you'd supply to while you log into each of the cluster. All right, so let me just hit that particular command. Okay, now if you see here, there is a kube context file that gets created. By default, it goes into the home directory. So let me just quickly show that. The home directory and .cube and config file. Okay, now this has got information about the cluster. Where is my cluster hosted? What is the credentials? What is the keys using which I have to log in the certificates associated with my credentials? All right, but then if at all I just download these, I'm right on my cluster. I have kubectl installed, so and I also have an alias set in. So all that I got to say is k get nodes. You see here there are two nodes that are running. K get pods -a. K get me all the pods. So many pods are there. K top pods -a. All right, so pretty much whatever information that I would want to get from my cluster, as if though this is running locally on my local box. Setting up a Kubernetes cluster on AKS is as simple as that. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as usual, if there's any issues while you follow my instructions from the video, kindly leave in a message and I'll try to address it as soon as I can. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching my video. Have a great day.